So this week, what I wanted to talk about, the word that kept coming to me this week was, I seem to have some attractions to distractions. And that was a new one for me, and I was really craving some stuff. And bye guys. And the crazy part was, I think these things that I'm craving, that I either don't have or I have and I want more of, I think they're good for me. I think I need them and I want them, and they would be good for me. One is, I really, truly, deeply miss submersing myself in calm, clear ocean water. And how could that be a bad thing for me? I mean, I know it's a healthy, good thing for me. But guess what? Right now I'm in West Virginia. And I'm quite happy doing the things that I'm doing in West Virginia. And although I'm not saying vacations are bad, I'm not saying it would be a horrible thing if I got myself submersed in the ocean. But what I did realize is this craving of mine, this want and this thought, has really been starting to become a story in my head that's taking me out of the moment of just being wherever I am, which I genuinely, truly am good with. I am around some unbelievably exquisite people. My mommy is sitting right beside me right now. How cool is that? Some of my best patients and students are here, people I haven't met that showed up, and I hope I get to meet and get to know. And you guys, I mean, how many people are out there? Lately, a couple hundred. How cool. Why would I really don't want to be anywhere else, but 20 times today I wanted to be in the ocean. 20 times a day I said it out loud in phone calls. I looked at flights. I talked to someone in Laguna Beach about doing some work, and hey, I mean, this is good. I'm working towards my dreams, my goals. However, how much of this energy that I'm putting into this thing that I'm attracted to is ultimately distracting me from just being fully present? So, my teacher, if any of you know me, I've talked about this before because it's one of my favorite theories of his. It's called the Cookie Nookie Theory. And I think it's the smartest philosophical way of looking at some parts of life that anybody's ever invented. And it's literally this. We're all here to heal and grow, and I mean, I don't care if you're a tree or a bird or a human, right? We're on the planet to live a life, to grow, hopefully as well as we can, hopefully with a community of other trees or birds or people, or interact and then go. And then that's it. That's why we're here to grow. Everything we are doing that does not serve our growth is a distraction. And Swami G, my guru here, always says everything that's a distraction falls into one of two categories, or sometimes both, cookie or nookie. So my desire to be in the ocean, for me, that falls under the nookie category, because it feels so good. My whole body, and I personally have a place where I go where I literally dance around and snuggle with dolphins and turtles and whales. It is like nookie. It's like my relationships that I miss and I crave and I want this body experience, right? But then there's ice cream at 9 o'clock at night, right? Cookie. Then there's, I want more money. Cookie, right? Then there's, I want a partner, or I want my partner to be more romantic. Nookie, right? I want my mom to, I don't know, whatever. My mom's perfect and wonderful. Of course, I don't want her to do anything different. Perfect relationship. Don't you all have perfect relationships with your mothers? Come on. Nookie, right? So we all have these things. Foods and people, and I don't care, you know, and they're all relationships. They ultimately are all relationships with food, relationships with money, relationships with how we spend our time, relationships with lovers, parents, kids, friends, teachers, relationships with our practices, right? Our practices that are probably healthy for us and practices that aren't healthy for us. These are all relationships. Relationships with our thoughts, right? And ultimately just our relationship with ourself. Which parts of all those relationships are actually serving our growth, and with which parts of those relationships are we getting caught up in that distract us? How many times a day do your thoughts about your relationships distract you? Take you out of the present moment. Take you out of from doing what is totally gonna just allow you to thrive totally in this moment. All of us get distracted a million times a day. For sure, me too. Our practices, helping us stay clear and focused and get our attention onto what really truly serves our growth. And then, see, this is the other thing that I do. I could convince all of you that my obsessive desire to be in the ocean is a completely healthy thing. And I do. Ask my mom. I need that. I'm focusing on it because it is important for me to be healthy. I need that, right? I need my partner to be different. I need my mom to be different. I need myself to be different. That could obsess half of my day. What am I not doing right in the world? You know, I need to think about these things. It's important. And that's true to some extent, to a certain point. So how do we discern when our attention is truly focused in a healthy way or is beginning to distract us and disperse our energy? Anybody else feel like you could talk me into the fact that all your distractions are actually really totally fine and good for you? Yeah. You know, we all do this, which is why we were not born alone on an island. Because we have to help call each other on our stuff. We have to develop practices and community, family, partners, ideally ones that are very loving and compassionate, call us on our shit. That's what teachers are for. That's what doctors are for. That's what partners are for. That's what parents are for. That's what kids are for. Right? We are reflecting each other and interacting with each other and having these relationships so we can ideally help each other grow. How many of our relationships feel like they are doing the opposite and consuming disproportionate amounts of our time? Our relationships with food, our relationships with a partner or someone, maybe someone just kind of a secondary or tertiary person in your business environment that drives you freaking crazy and seems to consume a ton of energy, not just of yours, but maybe of like we have relationships like this. So does anybody feel like you're a really good discerner? You just nail it every time you get into a situation with anything. You go, oh, this is good for me, or no, done, move on. No? Everybody's willing to be vulnerable in this room? You're all, oh man, I don't have any, I've totally got this down. Okay. So anybody feel like we have some good justifiers in the room? Could you all tell me how there are things that are in your life that they should be in your life, but really if you're willing to think about it, get a little humble, right? Mine used to be, every time I fell in love, I told my mother how amazing and perfect this person was. I'd found it, it was all great. And my mom, not just my mom, after a couple relationships, everybody's like, Heather, here we go again. Tell us how great this one is. Right? And I was convicted. Sometimes I'd let that go for a year, but then when I did look back, I knew after like the third date. I did, but I justified it to myself because I wanted Nookie. love. I wanted a relationship, so I was gonna make it work. Right? But Swami G has, when he talks to us about these relationships only serve us if both people are showing up in them with that priority to grow and to do the work. So if we end up in a relationship that just feels really good all the time, just be a little careful about that. Because it's most likely two people just craving a whole lot of nookie. It's good. I mean, it's very temporarily fun and good and feels great and all those fireworks. But if you can't get past that to a more sober place with the person, right? And so then we look at food the same way. Can we develop a conscious, healthy relationship with a ho-ho or a cupcake or a donut? People are like, heck yeah, I can. Very healthy relationship. Every day this kind of food, will that food ever serve my growth? I'm not telling you to never have some debaucherously decadent good thing again, but let's be honest when we do it. Let's really say, I know you're really not going to serve my growth long term. For sure, there is no relationship I can have with the cupcakes from Terra Cafe. I'm in West Virginia, none of you know, but I swear wherever you are in the world, if you come here and you go, you will get it. I don't care what your cupcakes are like, ours are in the top. Right? I mean, there is no healthy long-term relationship with me and those cupcakes. They are not going to serve my growth. So they are nookie, they are my distraction, and I am attracted to those distractions. So that's fine. It's fine to have these, but can we be aware? Can we discern? And then make our choices consciously, vulnerably and consciously. I know it's not going to serve my growth. I'm going to eat the cupcake anyway. If we at least get to that place, we do start shifting our experience. The cupcake will unfortunately become less pleasant. It'll still be lovely and nice, but we won't be unconsciously just driven by this craving for nookie and this quick satiation. Is that a word? To be satiated by? We'll be more sober with it, and we will eat half of it. We will probably not come back as often to it. Same with our relationships. We'll look at them differently. We will maybe enter them a little differently. We just need to be willing to hear either ourselves, which meditations like we just did help us really listen and start hearing. We probably, when we get out of this meditation, should probably do things a little differently, right? Or we'll hear our teachers. And I always refer to the people that come and see me as patient students, right? I'm a physician, I'm also a teacher, but I also love the play on the word patient because we have to be patient with ourselves, we have to be discerning, we have to be willing to be a little more aware and vulnerable and figure out what our distractions are that we're attracted to, and start discerning and figuring out how to do our relationships a little differently. So ideally we start seeing these things more quickly and more clearly and develop tools to redirect our energies in these relationships so that however we connect and or disconnect from the relationship with anything or any person, that we start engaging in different ways that really serve our growth. And so to that extent, I have sat through a winter now in West Virginia. I am a sun worshiper. Do you see the sun right there? I have told myself I'm solar powered, and it really is true. I have seasonal affect disorder right now. I've been a little depressed. Maybe more than a little bit depressed. It's been hard, and I was a month into this funk before I really put all the pieces together and realized, that it was the lack of sunshine. I've come from very sunny places the last 20 years. I'd grown up here, so I don't know why I was so shocked by it, but in the last couple winters I'd gotten away to the sun. But then the funny part is how long it took me to start using the tools I mean, what a hypocrite, right? The tools that I literally have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and years of my life learning to help other people with these situations. It took me a while to remember to use my tools. And then now I'm having this totally fun, entertaining relationship with my things that I'm attracted to and craving that are keeping me out of this moment. And I got my freaking sunlight out and started using it while I meditated. I've been sitting there meditating in the dark for 2 months. I could have been sitting there meditating with my sunlight on. And citrus oils in my aromatherapy diffuser. I mean, I can't go to Hawaii, but I could bring a little bit of that to me. And I wasn't doing it. And as I've started doing it, I've been relaxing about these things that I was craving, and that were consuming my space. So, and a few of my patient students are the ones who suggested things to me. What was it that you suggested to me that I was like, oh yeah, lithium. I had organic lithium. I had an organic lithium supplement sitting in my RV 5 steps out of my back door that had been sitting there for 2 months while I went. So, now it sits right by my sunlight, by the way, with another really great tincture that a friend sent me. It said, here, and I'm like, oh, look, these are the herbs that I prescribe to people all the time. Isn't that interesting? I started using my tools thanks to my patients and students and colleagues. So, surround yourself, develop relationships with some people who will help make sure you're not the only one trying to discern and check in with yourself about what we're doing every day with our thoughts and our attention, right, and our attractions. Help keep each other in line. So that's what spiritual communities are for. That's really, at the end of the day, that's where the rubber meets the road. We create communities of people who are practicing being conscious spiritual people, focused on health and healing, so we can keep each other out of trouble and on good paths. And then find really cool ways to engage and enjoy ourselves. So then these other attractions to distractions become less attractive. Because we got all this juicy, good energy around us of people who are working on that vibration. So, yeah, so that was what I thought about today. And I think now, by the way, anybody that's maybe been feeling really wonky or weird, or having computers or cars break down or stuff, Mercury retrograde ends on the 10th. So if you don't believe in that stuff, that's fine. If you look at your calendar between the end of last month and the 10th and notice that you've had some wonky stuff going on, things have been a little wonky. It's a long haul. And we have a super moon coming up. We actually have 3. The 3 biggest moons of the year are all back to back, March, April, and May. And so it's just when the moon is closest to the earth and things are aligned in just the right way to make the moon really big. Astronomically and astrologically, there is relevance to this. The tides, when people say, oh, whatever, the tides are literally the biggest. There's a name, I can't remember the name, for this certain type of tide that happens during these supermoons. So, in our bodies, energies can surge more and move more, just like those tides during these supermoons. So it's really great that we're coming out of a retrograde and into this supermoon energy. So it'll be a little wonky at that time, because we'll kind of be moving backwards and then also still having this big thing happen, but then we have 2 more months of it. And so I'm going to be doing fun things during those times and enjoying riding the waves, which is basically what we try and do during those lunatic moments, right? Instead of letting the waves crash us, you got to kind of get ready for them and be ready for that energy. And really maybe walk away from this and chime back in if you guys are in the room, or if you're there and you have things now to share, or later we can come back and have dialogues. But I would love to see who can be vulnerable enough to start seeing where your attractions to your distractions. Just develop a little bit more awareness around what thoughts and actions and relationships you're giving energy to, that even if there's good parts of them, even if you're not letting them go or making any major changes, just awareness to how there's a relationship with getting distracted from your growth, and how you could maybe bring some tools and practices into those relationships to redirect that energy in a more productive way. And if it is a relationship with a person, I want to say this: healthy boundaries and all that. If you shift things, even if another person doesn't like how you're making changes, ultimately, if you're in integrity and having good discernment and changing things to serve your growth, it is the healthiest thing for those relationships. Even if that other person is not necessarily doing this work, and you start withdrawing the cookie or nookie from the relationship, they might not like that because they're in it for the cookie and nookie, right? If they're not doing the same kind of work that you're doing, then that may change dynamics. It may bring stuff up for them. Do your work. Make sure you have other support systems to support you in making these transitions, but it will ultimately be the healthiest thing for that relationship. However, it needs to shift and change over time, and bring your attention to that. And every day, if you're in a relationship where you know this relationship is mostly a distraction, but it's my colleague and I'm not leaving work and they're not leaving work, so I need to stay in this relationship. Fine. How do you engage in that relationship differently? Right? If it's a love partner, these are the ways we make toxic stuff in our relationships get better. Ideally, both people do the work, then it's really cool. And then you also find out if one person's not doing the work and you're the only one that is, that'll tell you something. So, attraction to distractions. I welcome you all to my new little trip that I've been on, and please join me, and maybe we can all help each other be attracted to much finer things that not only help us all grow, but get us to the places and doing the things that really, really serve our growth and are fun and good. And maybe you all can wish that I figure out how to get in the ocean in that regard. But until then, I am going to be completely happy exactly where I am. And I truly am, right here, right now. I don't want to be anywhere else. And I really appreciate that you guys all chose to be here. And I genuinely hope that it feels like quite the opposite of a distraction, and that we have somehow grown together and grown as individuals with these thoughts and these practices. So thank you all so much. And I appreciate your presence in my life. And please reach out if I can serve your growth in any way. I would be honored to have that kind of relationship with you. Thank you.